making African egusi soup, mostly Nigerian African egusi soup. When you want to make it with goat, you make sure you parboil the goat first before you boil it finally, to avoid the smell of the goat. So this is what I just did. I just parboiled the goat right now. Then I'm going to drill out the water to put a fresh water to boil it properly to do. Then you add your salt, a little salt so that it will be much. You add your salt. Then you put your Maggi cube like this. You put the Maggi cube on it. Then you add a little water to make it cooked and done. Then when it's done, we shall be back. I'm applying chicken and turkey to make the egusi soup so that it won't look only tasty for goats. But if you decide to use goat and only goat, no problem. So, but we are using chicken, turkey, and goat meat. Okay, these are the chicken and the turkey. I want to boil them together to make it tasty. Then you add your cube of Maggi to it. Then you pick your onions. You make sure you add onions to it too, so it can be tasty very well. You add your onions to it. Then your salt, a little salt so that it will look a little bit bittered. Then you add little water just to mix up the chicken and the turkey together. Then you put it on the fire. Don't add much water because turkey and chicken, they have water on their own after boiled. So because of the ingredients you put, you have to add a little water to it and put it on the fire. This is the fresh pepper. You have to blend the fresh pepper. Then you blend the crayfish along with the egusi. You blend them together with the fresh pepper. This is the goat meat. This is the goat meat has been boiled. This is the chicken and the turkey together. So now I'm going to pour the goat meat inside the kitchen. I don't fry the meat because of fat, because excess of frying volatile fat. So I just boiled both without frying them. So I'll pour the goat meat inside the pot which I have used to boil the turkey and the chicken. Make sure you take off the water inside the goat. Boil them separate. Then you turn together. Then you mix them together. Then add a little water to the pot. Then you add water so that you have water to boil the egusi, to cook them together. Then you cover them for a while so that the water will boil up to mix up the goats and the turkey and the chickens together. This is a dry bitter leaf. It's a dry bitter leaf which they dried. Then I'll put it a little on it. You put the bitter leaf. Okay? You put the bitter leaf, you cover it again for a while, then you turn. This is the African oil. African oil. Then you add a little to the egusi pot which you want to cook. Then I'm adding this the oil, so I'm adding a little to it. Then you add oil depending on the quality of the food that you want to cook. I'm reminding, don't put extra salt, Maggi or anything added to the meat you boil, so it will look salty. Then you wait when you finish the food. Then you cannot, if you know it's not salty or there is no cube, then you add to it. So we add oil. After adding oil, we'll cover it for 5 minutes so the oil will circulate. So the oil have circulated, so you can now see what we have. You see it? So this is it. Then I'll leave it for a while again before I add my egusi, my pepper, and the crayfish to it. So this is it. So you cannot see. Then the next, you add the grounded egusi with the pepper and the crayfish to it. You add it to the pot. After adding it, then you mix together. Then you cover it again to boil up. That's it. Okay? Then you cannot test it. When you see it's not salty and there is no Maggi on it, you cannot add to it. Why? Because if you start adding things to it before you cooked it, it might look bitter because of excess of salt. So now you cannot add a little salt and your Maggi to it to make me more tasty and delicious. This is it. Okay, then you allow it to boil a little. Don't cover it again, because when you cover it, you will not add more water, because the water from the cover of the pot will be dropped inside the pot. They will not look watering. So you leave it for a while, a couple of 15 minutes, so that it might dry up a little to look more thick. Then before you add your fish, that is if you choose to add fish. Like me, I like putting fish in everything I cook. So I'll leave it for 15 minutes to dry up a little before I add my fish. Why? Because so that the fish won't lose scattered inside the soup. Because when you put the fish early, it will lose scattered inside the soup. So you have to hold on, let it dry a little before adding the fish, because fish doesn't have time to be cooked. This is the egusi. Now look more thick. You can see. Then you cannot add your fish to it. I don't fry things on soup because of fat. Excess of it causes fat. So you now add your fish on it. That is the last thing you put, so that it won't scatter when finished cooking. Then you add your fish. After adding your fish, then you cover it so that it might cook a little. Okay, we have finally finished our cook. You see, so the fish is still as the way it is without scattering. So have a nice meal. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mommy King D Kitchen, and see more video of me when I'm in the kitchen. Bye.